In this video, we're going to find out which character is the single deadliest one in the whole of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Hey guys, Rich from Rich Big Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Well, yes, welcome to another Marvel Crisis Protocol video. And for everyone who saw my Nightcrawler video that came out last week, you were probably expecting this one. It's this video, or making this video, that actually spawned the Nightcrawler one, because when I was trying to work out his numbers, it got me thinking about a whole bunch of different things. But what I wanted to try and find out was which character in a single activation was going to be the most deadliest, which one of them could deliver the most damage board wide in a single activation. Now, as always, there are going to be some rules and some guidelines that we've put in place. These just make it a fair test, I suppose. And to start out, rule number one is that each character will start out at 10 power, but they can also gain power during their activation if they're using a builder, for example, or maybe they've even got a superpower that can give them power. So it may be that you look at something and go, well, actually, Rich, they couldn't do all of those within a single turn with 10 power. Well, if they've done something to generate more, they will be able to use that power. So each target character is going to be a size 2 with 3 defenses across the board and no additional defensive tech. So every attack that we do is going to be against this imaginary size 2 3s across the board, just because that is the average. We're not going to allow the use of any tactics cards to boost attacks, so there'll be no execute for Corvus Glaive, there'll be no smash for Dormammu. And then for beam and area attacks, we have a set number of targets for each one. For beam attacks, this will be the range of the attack -1. So if it's a beam 3, it'll be 2 targets. If it's a beam 5, it'll be 4 targets. And for area attacks, this will be the range of the target +1. So an area 2 would be 3, an area 5 would be 6, God forbid. Next up then is assumptions are made that any character who has a trigger on their attack, such as a pierce or an incinerate, something like that, will roll the dice needed to be able to get this. So it could be that a follow-up attack, now that target character is only rolling 2 defense because they could have been set on fire, or maybe there's somebody in this list who has the ability to pull somebody and incinerate them as well. This will also include any attacks with triggers such as rapid fire or flurry. We're going to assume that they get those triggers off. But for attacks that trigger an unlimited number of times, and this is really what sort of bred the Nightcrawler video, we've limited them to get 1 additional trigger per attack. So they still do get a benefit for that. And then superpowers are allowed, but a character must have the power available to be able to use it, which obviously makes sense. And lastly, guys, is I just want to give a big shout out to the guys over at Cerebro. I use their dice calculator for all of these, and the actual damage output that we are talking about here is going to be the average. So this isn't the maximum. This isn't, rolling crits and getting an absolute perfect roll. This is going to be the average damage that they are going to be able to do. So, without further ado, let's jump in and let's look at the bottom of the pile and look at all of those characters who can only do under 6 damage in total. So you can see there we've got Black Widow and Wong. Obviously, both of them only having 4 dice attacks and nothing really they can do to boost that. You've got Black Cat. Now she gets slightly better because she stops her opponent exploding crits, but as you can see, there's characters in here, a couple of surprising ones for me. First of all, Captain Marvel, Cosmic Avenger. Now, it's important to note out that this is the non-binary version of Carol Danvers. But one that really surprised me was Doctor Strange. I thought that his damage output would be significantly better. Sort of rounding out the list then, you've got the likes of Iron Fist, Baron Mordo, and Green Goblin. Going up then to all those characters who can deal up to, 8 damage and below, so above 6, but below 8. And we've got the likes of Squirrel Girl, the new Killmonger Usurper. I thought he may have been higher up the list. You've got Craven the Hunter in there as well. Baron Zemo, who I thought would be able to do a lot more, but alas, he was unable to. And Lockjaw, actually, guys, going all the way up to the top of this particular list. Now, that's going to be because of that innate reroll. He's also got the ability to add extra dice to the attack, and he also has a throw in there as well. So he can throw a size 3 piece of terrain, which is going to be some pretty good damage coming through. Okay, then starting to get into the heavier hitters, shall we say. So this is everyone that can do more than 8 but below 10 damage. What have we got in here? So you've got the old Dr. Octopus Killmonger with the 2 kill count tokens was very surprising to me. Really surprising. Spider-Man Miles Morales is in there. Green Goblin on his injured side. Obviously, he gets that glider attack where it counts as a collision damage. Venom's doing really well, but look at that, guys. Rocket Raccoon. Look at all those 3 threats, 4 threats, some 5 threats in there as well. And Rocket Raccoon is right in the mix as a teeny weeny tiny little 2 threat character. So really well done for Rocket there. Moving on up then, we've got everyone that can do more than 10 but below 12 damage. So we're starting to get into some of the very big hitters now. Second place in the last time that we ever did this video is Sabretooth, who's coming in at just under 12 damage. Original MODOK is up there. Wolverine, obviously with the best at what I can do now being affordable. I don't think it would have affected him too much in this, but definitely in the game it is far more affordable for him now. And the brand new Doc Ock Sinister Scientist, almost reaching 12 damage in total, so pretty impressive there. You will notice, guys, a couple of these may have more than one version of themselves in here. So for example, we've got Deadpool in this list. You will see Deadpool on his injured side as well. We had Thanos in the previous list. We've now got Thanos the Mad Titan with the Reality Gem, because they're obviously played at different levels. And this is Ghost Rider, guys, with his Psychosis token. So on average, Ghost Rider is doing around about 11 damage per activation, even if you give him 10 power, which I was quite surprised at. I thought Ghost Rider or Cosmic Ghost Rider with that Psychosis token, counting those failures as results, was going to be much better. My boy Ronan up here as well, representing the 4 threat with just over 10 damage. That Kree Justice really helping him there as well. And then, guys, we start to get on to the very big hitters. So everyone that can do above 12 but is less than 15 damage. We've got the likes of Nightcrawler, the new Crossbones. We've got Emma Frost in there in her normal, and then we can see we've got Captain Marvel in her binary form, dishing out around about 13 damage, I think it is, in total. These all have dots after them. If anyone's interested, I'll make the file publicly available if you want to see. Our winner from last time, Corvus Glaive with the Reality Gem. Now, it's important to note that last time we were just looking at attacking a single character. This one is damage board wide. Ursa Major, I know Phil will be very happy about that one. And we can see there we've got that Deadpool injured version is up there as well. And then let's move into then, guys, everyone who can do. I had to plan these out so I could fit them all on the screen, so they were readable, to say the least. But next up then, we've got the sort of very big hitters here. So starting out with the Blob, he's obviously got that big attack that does extra damage as well. Drax is in there. Now again, we put Drax as normal, and then we put Drax with a damage and a vengeance token. I also had a little bit of fun, guys. You'll notice that we do have Rocket and Groot there with Deadly Duo. Obviously, this is just Groot doing the attacks, but guys, a Deadly Duo round doing up to 15 or just over 15 damage on average is absolutely huge. Brand new Logan the Wolverine in there as well with no allies, getting those rerolls obviously. Shadowland Daredevil on his injured side doing a huge amount of damage, and Magneto faring a lot better this time round than when we did it previously, because we've allowed him to throw all of those buildings at different people as well. So with Magneto, I did mention that you can generate power in the middle of the turn. So he started with 10, he threw some buildings, he did a builder, he threw some more buildings, he did another builder, so on and so forth. So yeah, really, really good damage in there from Magneto. And then topping out the sort of list here is going to be Thor, Prince of Asgard. And then we get into, guys, the ones that just missed out on a top 5 spot. And there's some very, very surprising ones in here for me. So starting out then, we've got M'Baku with about 17 damage on average. We've got Black Swan in there as well. We've got Agent Venom. He's got that spender that allows him, I think it's the tendrils that do damage to everyone else around as well. We've got a Hulk with 16 damage on him. Obviously, he gets more dice the more damage he has taken. Then we've got Ultron, the Metal Tyrant. We've got 2 versions of Ultron in here. We've got the normal version and then with grunts. So if his grunts are out, obviously upping his damage output. Black Bolt on his injured side with that Whisper. Absolutely devastating. Then we do have, I think it was the original Captain Marvel I mentioned there, but then we do have the binary version of Captain Marvel, dishing out around about 22 damage on average if she is fully powered. Cyclops holding his own. Obviously, he's got that absolutely devastating beam attack, similarly with Iron Man injured. And then there we go, guys. So these are the 10 or so that missed out on the top 5. But before we get into the top 5, let's have a look at characters who are maybe a little bit below the curve. So to understand what the curve is, we first of all need to understand what the average damage is for a particular threat level. And here we go. So you've got your average 2 threat is dishing out, I think it ended up being about 6.95, something like that. Your average 3 threat doing about 7.5 damage. Your average 4 threat doing about 12 damage. Really surprising for me is the average 5 threat is going to dish out more damage than the average 6+ threat. I was quite surprised at this because obviously you just assume that the higher a threat level a character, the more damage they can do, but that is most definitely not the case. And there is one character in particular who really pulls down that average 5 threat that we'll see in a second. But this is what we can expect as the average. So what I've now done is I've taken a look at every character in 3 threat and above who does not achieve the damage of the threat level below them. So let's start out, let's take a look at all of the 3 threats that are doing less damage than the average 2 threats. And it's important to note actually for the 2 threats we did take out Rocket and the Deadly Duo card. That was just in there for a bit of fun. But yeah, guys, look at this. Black Widow, Black Cat, Hawkeye, Proxima Midnight, Viper, Mystique, Quicksilver, Taskmaster, Supergiant. Lots and lots of characters in there, guys, who are below the curve when it comes to damage output. Even Star-Lord with those 2 full autos that he can do. I was very, very surprised with that indeed. Next then is the 4 threats, and obviously what we're looking at here is any 4 threats that are below the 2 threat, but also any 4 threats that are below the 3 threat level. And it is a little bit crazy. And again, some ones in here that I did not expect. So first of all, we've got 4 characters who on average are dishing out less damage than their 2 threat counterparts. You got Killmonger the Usurper with only 6.16, Vision with 6.4, Omega Red with 6.42, and then Killmonger with 6.55. That was it. The 2 threat damage was 6.75. But then look at this list, guys, of all of the characters who are doing less than the average 3 threat. Peter Parker in there is no surprise whatsoever. I thought the Sentinel Mark IVs might be higher. I've been playing with them quite a bit. But the one that really got me, guys, was Killmonger. Even with 2 kill count tokens, giving him 2 rerolls on all of attacks, he's still dishing out less damage than the average 3-threat character. So, I mean, I always used to use him as my go-to for murdering things, but, you know, maybe that is just not the case. Okay, then moving on to the 5-threat, and obviously in this one, we're going to be looking at not only those that are less than level 4, but 3 and 2 as well. So we've got 3 categories in here. And starting out, guys, Captain Marvel, Cosmic Avenger. This is no surprise. This version of Captain Marvel, when she's in a non-binary form, isn't really there to do damage. She is there to generate power. But guys, I did say there was a 5-threat that was absolutely dragging down the list, and it is Doctor Strange with only 4.4 damage on average. Remembering that his rerolls don't change the average because it's just rerolling everything. So a reroll all doesn't change the average damage output whatsoever, because averages are averages. It's just another roll in there. You got the likes of Juggernaut, OG Ghost Rider, who I was very, very surprised about, but then I thought about it and went, well, actually a lot of what he does comes from that little chip damage that he does, all the power that he generates, the mobility that he gets, dishing out the Hex. Sentinel Prime is up there as well. OG MODOK, guys, OG MODOK is doing less damage than your average 4-threat character. So the red is obviously less than 2 threats, the orange there is less than 3 threats, and the yellow is less than 4 threats. Then moving on to the final part, which is going to be the 6+ threats. We bundle them all in together. And again, a little bit like Captain Marvel, Cosmic Avenger. No surprise that this version of Iron Man in the Hulkbuster, so once you've blown him up once, he comes back and he's just a teeny tiny little Iron Man. He's only doing 4.92 damage, but again, he's really there to generate himself some power. Guys, Cosmic Ghost Rider, on average, does less damage than your average 3-threat character. So everyone calling us out saying Ghost Rider is bust, Cosmic Ghost Rider is bust, by this, that. And I get it, guys. It's not just what he does. He does a whole bunch of other things as well. And that Incinerate that he dishes out does carry on over. But on average, by himself, again, without the Psychosis token, he is not doing anywhere near the damage that the average 3-threat is. We've then got Thanos with the Reality and with no gems, doing less than the average 4-threat. And also, guys, doing less than the average 4-threat is going to be Cosmic Ghost Rider with that Psychosis token. This is why I really like doing these little exercises, because it really highlights that damage isn't everything in this game. And the characters who we think are the big bads are maybe not always necessarily the biggest bads out there. You just need to find things to try and counter them. We then got She-Hulk, the absolutely devastated Malekith the Accursed, and then rounding it out with Dormammu in there as well. So they're the worst of the worst, guys. They're all the characters that are below the curve. But it's time to jump in to the top 5. Okay then, guys, so coming in at number 5 is going to be Medusa. Medusalath, Amaquailin, Boltagon. How does she get to do all of this damage? Well, she's going to start out, she has got her hair flip, which is going to allow her to throw an enemy character. Obviously, we've assumed here that she's throwing them into another enemy character, so does damage on both sides. She can then follow that up with a split ends, that area 2 attack. So as you remember, we're going to be counting that as targeting 3 individual characters. And then lastly, we have got a Braid Bash with that flurry that's going to allow her to do all of that damage. And let's not forget, she is inhuman, so she does get access to those inhuman rerolls, giving her a total damage of 22.49 within a single activation. It's also worth mentioning that I think there's a chance here that we could have said she does more with that split ends, especially with that throw. She can throw somebody else in, so she only had 3 characters around her. She can pick somebody else, throw them in, and of course, because she ignores herself, she can throw them into another character, get them to within range 2, but they weren't the rules, so we didn't include that in there. But very, very well deserved 5th place for Medusa there. Okay, into the number 2 spot, and this is one that really did surprise me, but it's going to be Gambit, aka Remy LeBeau. Starting out with that kinetic ace and the accelerated charge, meaning that he's going to be able to roll 2 more dice, and then following that up once again with a kinetic charge because of the damage, with a accelerated charge because of the extra power he's got from the builder. He's going to be able to do that 52 card pickup, that beam 4, hitting 5 characters, flurry of cards counting each wild as 2, but he also has access to a little something extra helping him out on those attacks, giving him a total damage output of 22.5. Into number 3 next, and it is a old character that's had a bit of a revamp, and it's fair to say he's a bit more of a firm favourite now. It is the ballerina of Hell's Kitchen, of course, Matt Murdock. Pretty straightforward for Matt on this one. He's got 10 power. His Devil's Deliverance costs 2, and he gets to add dice equal to the number of non-dazed enemy characters within 2 of him when he makes this attack. So he does that twice, and basically he's coming out with 23.32 damage. I also did want to give him another special mention because he would have made it up to the number 2 spot if we had allowed him to use that Marvel Knights, that Defenders affiliation leadership, which on 1 attack would have allowed him to have re-rolled dice equal to the number of enemy characters within 2. Shows you how powerful re-rolls are. That would have pushed him up to 27.37 in total, but as per the rules, he's only getting 23.32 damage through. And just missing out on the top spot is Ulysses Claw, aka Claw. Once again, a very, very straightforward thing here. He's got Sonic Shockwave, which is a beam 5, 7 dice, but he's also got a Pierce in there as well, which is absolutely devastating. Costs him 5 power, so guess what? He can do it twice, and it's going to bag him a total damage of 25.68 in total. And guys, on to our number 1 character in the game who can outdamage all of them. It is one of the characters that gets played the absolute least in the game, not because of his attacking prowess, but more because of his defensive capabilities. It is Carnage. It's really simple. It's straightforward. He gets to do a maximum Carnage twice, and it's going to give him a total damage of 29.31. The reason it's so high is because of that Rampage, where after each attack is resolved, deal 1 damage to each other enemy character within 2 of this character. So it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up. I did look at it because he's got other abilities such as paint the town red and those sorts of things, sadistic glee, but I ran the numbers, and just spending that 10 power straight on those 2 abilities or those 2 attacks was the best way of doing the most damage possible. So there we go, guys. Who knew it? Carnage is the most dangerous and deadly character in Marvel Crisis Protocol right now. But do remember that if you shoot him with a rocket, he will die very quickly. But yes, there we go, guys. Hopefully you really enjoyed this. And this video was very much just supposed to be a little bit of fun. These numbers rarely translate onto the board, but what it does give you an idea of is the characters out there that can deliver the most damage. I will make these files available for you on the Discord, so if you want to head on over there, there'll be a link down in the description below, and I'll share these files with you so you can see all the calculations and everything else, and let me know if I've missed one. If I missed someone out there who you think can do more damage, well, let me know and send me over the details, and we'll make sure that we feature you in our community page on YouTube. Guys, we're going to leave this one there. I want to give a huge shout out to our Patreons. You really do help us continue to be able to make this content and support the channel. If you want to join us on Patreon, you can do so. There'll be a link down in the description below, and from as little as £1 a month, you can join our Patreon crew. Also, a big shout out to Leodis Games, the sponsor of the channel. Again, just making it that much easier to be able to run things. I've already mentioned the Discord, guys. Make sure you head on over there. It's where we announce all of our events that we're doing. There's going to be some timeline stuff coming soon as well, so make sure you head on over there to check that out. And as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.